Yo, everybody, I'm Matt from MTG Gaming Bob.
And I'm MTG Gaming Bob.
And today we're going to be doing a little bit of an intro on cards that we think are cool and stuff and reviews of whatnots from Streets of New Capenna.
Cool and whatnot and stuff. With that, we'll get right into it. My first pick for Streets of New Capenna is Vivian on the Hunt. Now, unlike our previous video with Kamigawa, some of these cards are going to be a little pricier. So Vivian, I think, is a house. There's just about nothing wrong with her except her cost. She is pricey at 6. It's 4 and 2 green for a +2 ability. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle. Look out, Craterhoof Behemoth.
It's birthing.
She's
pod.
on basically like birthing pod on a stick that just gets bigger and bigger, right? Fortunately, she does not have an ultimate, so maybe that's a drawback, but her abilities are beefy enough, right? Even her second ability, you +1 her, you mill 5 cards and put any number of creature cards. So if you really need a creature card of any type, board wipe, let's get our board state reinstated. Boom, mill 5 cards, put any number of the creature cards milled this way into your hand.
Yeah.
Because green has a big problem trying to generate mana ahead of curve, right?
Yeah.
And the -1 ability is create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. So turn she comes into play, self-protection. I mean, this is just a beastly planeswalker, and they had to cost it at 6 or it would have been busted. So I don't think it's broken, but it is absolutely a must-answer type planeswalker, or it's going to get out of control very quickly.
Yeah, the tutor ability, the birthing pod effect on a planeswalker that is a plus is already pretty good. I mean, she'll come out, she'll go to 6 loyalty. That requires a decent bit of damage to take care of. And if you need a creature to protect her, she has the minus ability to do that. And a 4/4 is a pretty large body. So, yeah.
Well, actually, when you do the +2 ability, it's going to put the creature on the battlefield. So
Right. I'm saying if you didn't have one to sack.
Right.
But she even provides you one to sack as well. You could do the next. Well, but it'd be mana cost of 1. Not the best.
Yeah, not the best. But if
something.
they, if they have something against it, or if they have some sort of like turn it into a frog or something of that nature, you can. It's a sack outlet in green. Right? It's a way.
I could think of a few 1 mana costs that are like Deathrite Shaman. That's pretty nice to be able to tutor it.
Well, and it talks about mana value, right? So, let's say they pongify your commander, right? And or just flip it over. There's a new card that's coming out in Baldur's Gate that's gonna turn over, and then it flip over all of your cards on the table and turn them into 2/2 creatures or something.
Yeah, something like that.
This would be a way to get your commander back, right? Like when people lock it down and keep it on the board.
Yeah.
Either with some sort of prison enchantment or
Darksteel mutations,
turn it into some sort of 0/1 creature or something. You have a way to sack it and do something with it, right? So it's an incredible card. I think it's one of the best designed cards in the set, in my opinion.
You play a Thragtusk, you gain 5 life. You sack the Thragtusk, you draw a card, you tutor a 6-drop. Sacrificing also is a pretty huge thing as well. Like there's plenty of decks in green like that want to sacrifice creatures, so she's absolutely she's pretty good.
Yeah, I think pretty good is an understatement, and she's costed about, well, besides mana cost, I'm talking about the financial cost. She's honestly, I think, kind of for the special border here at $12, almost a little cheap, but we'll see where she goes. It's early on in set release still. I think this is going to see a lot of play. At least in Commander. I don't know about other formats. Let us know what you think.
In Standard, she's probably too slow.
I don't know about that. In Standard, I could see play. It's certainly too slow for Modern, I think. I don't know about Pioneer. I don't play any Pioneer, so Pioneer players, please chime in. Commander players, let us know what you think.
I think she'll be a pretty good inclusion in a lot of Commander decks, especially ones that want to. If you're already running Birthing Pod, this just makes sense. Why not Birthing Pod twice in a turn? That seems pretty solid. But yeah, next up we've got Agnes, the Dragon's Lash. He's pretty solid. I put him on here because I recently seen there's basically an infinite turn combo that you can do with him if you use Amulet of Vigor, and if you have enough creatures to attack with that dragon.
So I'm pretty new to New Capenna. I mean, I've seen all the spoilers, but I don't know all the combinations. I haven't played much with it yet. So you're getting a sort of Bob's take on the cards that I'm looking at, just from pure face value. I haven't seen a lot in play yet.
Okay, so if you have Agnes on the field with Hellkite Charger says whenever Hellkite Charger attacks, you may pay 7 red, well, 5 and 2 red. If you do, untap all attacking creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. And then with Agnes, if you're attacking with at least 7 creatures, you'll get 7 treasure tokens. With Amulet of Vigor, they'll all be untapped, so you can sack all the treasure that you get another combat step, and then swing again. And then the color combinations of Jund, you're not going to have a problem with hasty creatures if you need to, have more hasty creatures or evasive creatures like flyers or tramplers or whatever.
Certainly feels like Goldspan Dragon Screaming to be in this deck.
Yeah, Goldspan Dragon as well, for sure. Yep. I'm sure it'll play things that...
Zorn.
Yeah, Zorn, sure. Goro.
Academy Manufactor.
Sure. Get a bunch of food tokens and probably even Bootlegger Stash, which is not even on our list, but can't imagine it.
Sure.
Why not?
Old Gnawbone.
Yeah, Old Gnawbone, sure. Yeah, just Old Gnawbone alone as well with that the dragon. I mean, these are a lot of things. I mean, you throw Anger in the graveyard and then you give everything you have haste anyways, and there's plenty of things. I think in the color combination you can do all kinds of janky stuff.
Sure. No, it seems like a very solid card.
And we were talking earlier in the other in the other review for Kamigawa that it's a 4-mana planeswalker or a 4-mana commander, and it's cheap enough, I think.
Well, I like that they included in the casting cost. What do they call that? The hybrid mana.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really does a lot of like mana fixing for itself.
Yeah, true. It's got multiple hybrid symbols, which makes it pretty simple. You've got 3 red. I mean, there's tons of combinations you can do with that. Plus, you're making treasures anyway, so you're going to play this in a deck that makes treasures for sure.
Just saying, that's just one additional thing in its favor. I love that they've put the hybrid symbols in complex mana casting costs for commanders. I think that's certainly lends itself to more playable, get it on the battlefield more often scenario.
And of course, it's only 38 cents, so it's dirt cheap. Next up is the Beamtown Bullies, which I think both of us really, really like.
I do. I love this card.
So it's 4 mana as well, so good casting cost. For a 4/4 Vig Haster, very solid just in that alone. And then when you tap him, target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under their control. It gains haste, goad it. At the beginning of the next end step, exile it. So that card can cause some shenanigans to happen.
We got into a conversation about this one. This is actually probably the card that Matt and I have talked about the most within Streets of New Capenna. Just the combinations. I threw, what was it, the Leveler at you?
Yeah,
was
Leveler.
one of the cards.
Yeah, so
a perennially crap card, but wow.
So basically you just mill these terrible creatures that you would never cast most of the time for yourself. You mill them into your graveyard, and then because he has haste, the moment you cast him, as long as he doesn't get countered, there's nothing they can do to stop it unless they exile your graveyard. And the card, the Leveler he was talking about, it's just Leveler, 5 mana for a 10/10. Oh my god, it's crazy, right? You wouldn't want to ever give them a 10/10. But when Leveler comes into play, remove your library from the game. So you give them this, their library goes by, and you just pass your turn and they lose.
Additionally, it's going to have goad, right? So
yeah,
even though it has haste 10/10, it's not hitting you, right? So
yeah, that's another thing. You're going to be
bad about it.
You're going to be playing this in a Reanimator style deck, so you're going to have actually good creatures anyways, like good creatures you want to reanimate. I can see easily giving somebody else a card like, hey, you hit somebody because it's goaded. Who cares? So yeah, I mean, there's another card, Eater of Days, 4 mana for a 9/8 flying trampler. When Eater of Days comes into play, you skip your next 2 turns. So just whenever you want, you can just tap your commander and make somebody skip 2 of their next turns. Tell them to eat their food while, you know, they ordered their pizza, they didn't get to eat. You just, there you go. You got plenty of time.
Sure. While you're at it, why don't you make me a sandwich?
Yeah.
It's certainly not a CEDH type of card, because the second they see that you have this, you're likely going to have a gigantic target on your head. And this card, the second that it hits, they know that some shenanigans is coming. Like, it hits the table, boom, you go get your, entomb and throw some garbage into the graveyard. It has to be answered right away every time it hits the table, because it could be the end of somebody's turn, right?
Yeah. There's another one called
Beautiful little card. It certainly is degenerate, I guess would be the best word to say. But I think it's fair. It's a fair degenerate card.
Maybe. I'll have to play it. I am building this deck, so this will be fun. All right.
Probably going to pick up the borderless one.
Next up, Ziatora, the Incinerator. 6 mana for a 6/6 flyer. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Ziatora, the Incinerator, deals damage to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. So I wanted to make a Jund deck, and you can. This price is a little misleading, and it's because it's the Gilded Foil version. The non-Gilded Foil is not that expensive. I think it's like $8. But I wanted to make a Jund deck. Oh, it's $5. And I thought about this one. What do you think about him, Bob? I'll just out of curiosity.
I would put it in the Beamtown Bullies deck.
Well,
so
sure.
that you can, I mean, some of the things are going to hurt you, like Eater of Days, right? And let's say you have to play it, put it out into play, and you have to be able to sack. It's just another thing that helps you with your sack. Now, hopefully, you're going to be able to use your Beamtown Bullies as a defensive measure that, okay, even though you skip a turn, or skip 2 turns, I think, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
You might be able to eliminate a player or your biggest threat right away, right? So somebody who board wipes everybody else except himself, I could see a situation where you put something out there like this, and then, it's another sack outlet. So again, it's a solid card. This must be the Gilded Foil pricing on there, because I don't think it's a $63 card.
No, it's a $5 card.
But it's interesting in like those graveyard synergy decks that we were talking about. So again, buy your lion stashes, people.
Yeah, I like it a lot because it gives you a sack outlet for things. Because in Jund, there are plenty of things that you want to die. You want to be able to sack it in some way. A sack outlet is always welcoming. So this is a sack outlet, even though it has a weird timing where you have to wait till the end step or whatever. But either way, you get rewarded by pinging something, whatever it is, any target, which is pretty nice, and then creating 3 treasure tokens. And we all know treasure tokens are pretty powerful. The only thing I don't like is that it's 6 mana cost for a commander, and I like I said before, I like the 3 to 4 costing commanders. 6 is, I don't know.
I wouldn't play this as the commander. Like I said, I think it belongs like in a Beamtown Bullies type deck.
Yeah, I want to make a deck I want him to be the commander of it, but I don't know how great that would be. Probably fine.
I mean, it's certainly going to be another Reanimator style Jund deck. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess if you think about it, it's kind of a 3 mana casting creature commander, because if you get to sacrifice a creature at the end, you get 3 treasure tokens, which pays for half of it. So it's a little strange.
I don't look at it that way. I mean,
I like them. And for $5, it's not bad. Next up, Evolving Door. Take it away.
This is, I don't know, going to be, I guess, my meme card for me. I love it, but it's not really a birthing pod. It's somewhere between birthing pod and survival of the fittest, right? And it's kind of neat because this is now going and getting things based off of your color combos, right? But let's think about this if you play it with artifacts like colorless creatures, right? Now you can go get any green creature in your deck right? For 1 mana.
Hmm.
So
It
if
is
you have
cheap.
something that, yeah. So, I think there are many ways that you can abuse this, and especially if you make everything colorless, or, you're able to create colorless tokens. I think this can be powerful, right? In a commander deck, how many times are you sitting there in a commander game going, man, if I could just get to X creature card, right? If I could just get that one creature. Well, here's your solution. And you know what? Survival of the Fittest is a $300 card. This is a 30-cent card.
Yeah. And if you make tokens that are 2 colors, you could sack the token and go get a 3-color thing for free. That's pretty good.
Sure. So again, I think that this is unfairly being poo-pooed on by the community at large. I think it's got some possibilities.
Oh, the card's dead to me.
Why is that?
Activate only as a sorcery. I hate that tagline. They need to remove that from their vocabulary. That bugs the shit out of me.
It's kind of busted if it wasn't. Otherwise, you could just, like, in response to something being killed, you could sack it.
Well, no, you still have to pay the cast of the card. It's just usually
you could do it.
if it's a creature, you can't cast it on anybody else's turn.
Do what?
If it's a creature, you can't cast it on somebody else's turn. Like if they go to kill something of your creatures, like you do nothing. I mean, you can cast it at any time, I guess.
If it didn't have that sorcery, right, then that's what we're saying.
But I think that's fine.
That you would be doing it in response to a creature being killed.
Birthing Pod can do it. Why can't this?
Because it's not Birthing Pod.
Well, it's worse. Because you still have to pay the mana of the thing you go tutor.
It's different. I don't like saying worse, because Birthing Pod restricts you to a certain mana value. Or
right.
It's toughness, right? It's toughness. Birthing Pod works off the creature's power and toughness, right?
I think it's mana value.
Is it mana value? Either way. What I'm saying is you're more restricted. This is...
convert a mana cost +1.
Right. So, I like the flexibility of this. I don't think it's Birthing Pod. I don't think it's Survival of the Fittest. We're talking about cards that we like of Streets of New Capenna. And it does allow you to tutor, right? Period. End of story. You can go tutor for a creature. Tutoring is crazy strong.
Yeah.
So is it worse than Birthing Pod? In some ways. Is it better? In some ways. So I like it. This is my card. I'm allowed to like it if I want.
And I'm allowed to hate it. I hate the tagline, activate only as a sorcery. Ugh.
I think it would be a far better card, but then it would need to be a mythic, and it would probably be a $30 card if it said that.
Sure. Okay to make good cards. I mean, there might be some interactions that I'm missing that like would break it if it wasn't as a sorcery. Sure. Like Osgir, the Reconstructor, he's as a sorcery, and I hate that. But I also do understand that if it wasn't as a sorcery, it would be pretty busted. He's already good. So
sure.
I get it.
So, again, I think this is a great little card. I think it's a great little shuffle your deck mechanism when you need to, because you got the crappy card on top, just another land on top. There's plenty of things in green, Corsair Crewfix, those kind of things that let you pick your top card. You don't like it, sack some garbage creature you have on the table and shuffle your deck. I mean, how many times do you just need to shuffle to get that next card? You need that win con. You're in a desperate situation, and you just didn't have it. Playing it with Sylvan Library, those kind of things to stack your deck up and then shuffle it up and get your deck organized the way that you like it better. I think it's a great little card. I think it's fantastic. And I mean, you're talking 30 cents, people. I'm sure as hell going to go. And I'm going out to buy this card now. Like, yeah,
that's for the full art version too.
Yeah, I'm all in. Count me in. I'm gonna when we close this down, I'm gonna go buy some, because this is good and it's cheap. I mean, for $1, really?
It's $3 for $1. True. And then last we got is Sparrows Headquarters, but this is all the lands, all the tri-lands, not just the specific one.
So I chose, the gimpy colors. I'm partial to Bant. I'm your Care Bear player, so I take the Care Bear colors. But I agree. All the Triumphs, they are just as strong as Ikoria. They're just different color combos. It completes the cycle. There's 10 total possible combinations of 3 colored lands, and this completes it. And I have beat to death the cheerleading for Triomes, so I will take this opportunity yet again to point out that these are fetchable. They're cyclable. They do so many different things that even dual lands don't do. Right? You could thin your deck down with this. A dual land can't do that.
Yeah.
You could fetch, go get this, cycle it around, draw a card. If you are good on mana, good on lands, you got 45 freaking treasure tokens sitting on the board. Last thing you need is another dual land. Let me thin my deck out. Oh, I need to get lands into the graveyard for other triggers and abilities. Boom. You fetch. You pop both of these into your graveyard. You just drop 2 lands in the yard. You know, there are many things that you can do with this that, again, like I said, in my opinion, can conditionally make it better than a dual land. Now, as far as pure mana generation, I would say dual lands are typically better, but this has more flexibility. So,
and they're about $8 to $10 in cost on average, which is cheap.
This is the fancy version at $21, and it's going to go lower. I wouldn't say. Now, I'll say this for all the cards that we're mentioning here today. Besides Evolving Door at 29 cents, they're going to go lower. They're going to go lower. We are in the hype period still. It's newly opened. We haven't gotten to the next set yet. We're only like, maybe 10 days, 12 days into the release cycle of this. So I say the sweet spot is 3 to 6 months. So unless you need these cards right now, for the ones that are expensive, wait. For the ones that are pretty cheap, can't hurt you to go out and get them now. But these will certainly drop for a while, and they may come back up again. My price point for Ikoria when I was targeting them initially was between $5 to $7, and I was only getting the full art versions of them. So if you just need the playable versions, I think they got down to like $3 or $4 a piece. Some of them, the Triomes, at one point for Ikoria. I mean, you're playing a dangerous game there because you might miss out, and none of them are at that range anymore. No. Now that they've sort of settled in, Modern's found uses for these things. I don't know that these are going to drop as hard as Ikoria did at first, but I will say they are just as useful. These are literally the same functionality as the Ikoria Triomes, just different colors. So I don't know that they'll drop any more than like maybe $5 for the plain Jane version of these things, but I would say $7. It'd be the lowest I think you would ever see these full arts. I don't think they'll hit that low.
No. It looks pretty good.
And plus they added a new version. Like technically they didn't have. I mean, I think they called them the showcase version in Ikoria, and these are really they're extended, not borderless. Because you clearly have a border on the bottom, but price points, work it out yourself, folks. But I would say that, wait, these are going to drop. There's going to be more opened within 3 months, 4 months. You're going to see prices dip on these. You should. People that are targeting them, that want them, immediately have to have them in their commander decks, are all buying them now, the versions that they want. And you're going to see this continue to get cracked, especially the set boxes. We'll get to that in a minute. But so caution on buying things right away. I certainly think that these have room to drop, but I also think they'll go back up over time, depending on how often they get printed.
Yeah. I have a question for people, the viewers. Hey, people. Do you guys ever cycle these cards? I've never once cycled a single Triumph in my life.
I do.
Put it down in the comments, just out of curiosity. The reason I say that is because I almost always fetch them. So I fetch them, they come into play tapped. I never have a chance to cycle them. Very rarely. Maybe now with more copies of them. I mean, I guess you'd have to be playing a 4-color deck to use 2 of them. But yeah, they're so, I don't know. I always I always play them on first turn, or I fetch them very early on, so I never actually cycle them. But just out of curiosity, if people do that often, Bob says he does.
Sure.
But yeah,
I do.
At that, as far as the set's concerned, I haven't got a chance to draft it yet. I would like to. I think it has potential to be a pretty fun draft set, but haven't got a chance to. I will probably try to eventually do that within the next few days or so. But as far as like value-wise, I think that with the Triumph set, you're already going to have some pretty good value there. It's going to be hard to lose money whenever a set has valuable lands that are going to be desired. I think that it's pretty hard to lose money opening boxes if that's what you want. I mean, you'll probably end up breaking even or losing a little bit, but you'll very rarely get slammed with a really, really bad box. So I think as far as opening boxes, I mean, you're probably pretty safe if you want to just do that. But I think with all the different showcase cards, the Gilded Foils, I really want this card, the Ziatora Gilded Foil, but I'm not going to pay $62 for it. So that's unfortunate. But I've heard the Gilded Foils they look really good in person, and I heard they don't pringle.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about the Gilded Foils, Bob?
I like the idea of the Gilded Foils, and I hope that they maintain value, and I hope that it becomes I like chase cards. I think everybody does. If you've watched me for any period of time, especially on other people's streams, I am an opponent of the reserve list, and I think this is the direction they need to take. Though I think they made too many of them. I've seen in a couple. Well, I've watched several collector box openings, and I think I saw like 4 or 5 per box, which I think is just too common. I think that they're going in the right direction with Gilded Foils. I mean, do they appeal to me personally? They're okay. I don't think that they're terrible. I don't think that they're great. I certainly like them a shitload better than the rulebook D&D art or the sketch versions in Modern Horizons 2. This is more appealing. I'm a little let down overall with the artistic direction of Streets of New Capenna. That was the thing I was looking forward to the most. I was really hoping they would capture something like what you're seeing in the background, down below here with the that style of Art Deco, and it didn't feel like they captured that for me, or what's behind me. But the Gilded Foils are fine, and if they maintain a higher premium, I'm all about it. I think it's great. Good job, WotC. That's the direction I want to see the game go. I would much rather see desirable reserve list style art rather than actually hard capping a card itself that cannot be reprinted. I think that the special versions of cards should be where the value is, not kneecapping people so they can't get into different formats.
Yeah. So as far as what you would buy or what you're going to pass on, do you have an idea yet of what you're going to be buying and passing?
Well, I've already bought what I'm going to buy, and that's due more not to New Capenna, but Double Bubble Flippy Trippy Masters coming up here. That's going to be expensive, and I'm saving my money for it. Additionally, any sets that are out right now, if I'm buying sets that are in print, Modern Horizons 2 is where my money's going for something that's currently out.
Right.
I would rather spend $200. I'd rather have one box of Modern Horizons 2 draft than really anything in Streets of New Capenna. Maybe I don't even really love the collectors. But if you're targeting something clearly with the juice that they're putting in the list slot, set boxes are what you would target for Streets of New Capenna. That's where you're going to get your biggest value, I believe.
Yeah.
It's going to absolutely crush the value of many of those list cards, and it already is. You can see it on many of the cards like Sakashima Student. These things are racing to the bottom. Vampiric Tutor, the poor Stranger Things Secret Lair. Oof! Wow, that one just got dumpster fired hard. So that's unfortunate for those people that purchased that Secret Lair, and people could say the secret art or the Stranger Things art is going to hold it up. I thought they were weak cards to begin with. And now they've printed other versions that do the exact same thing in just cannon fodder style. So, ouch.
Yeah.
But the set boxes are the buy for me. I think it's a solid set. I agree with Matt. The triomes are going to keep this set relevant for cracking for a while. I think it's going to buoy the value of this set moving well into the future, even beyond the cards that we've mentioned.
And I think with the set list being with the list being as good as it is in the set boxes, I think set boxes are going to be fire later on down the road. I think that it's got a strong list set of cards. It's got lands that are great. It's got a decent bit of, it's got 19 commander potential cards. So if commander continues to be, the leading format, then it's got enough commanders that are all pretty good. I mean, in general, one of the card I didn't really mention, but one of the other cards that I really, really like that I want to make a deck potentially around is Ziatora, Font of Hope. She's an angel monster, so stuff like that. I mean, there's tons of good cards in the set. I think they did a pretty good job, and yeah, I think the set boxes are where it's at. Because they can also get Gilded Foils as well. They're not as in higher quantity as the collector's boxes, but you can still get Gilded Foils in set boxes. So with the Gilded Foils, the list card being bonkers, and the showcase cards being pretty good as far as the art, then I think it's a pretty solid buy. Draft, honestly, it's a pass for me. I draft boxes nowadays. I don't. None of them really do anything for me. The list cards,
draft. It depends for me. Standard draft, I'm not in love with anymore, because you rarely ever draft standard. I mean, it's just it's kind of a dying breed, to be quite frank. Which is why I said a couple years ago, when they came out with Commander Legends Draft, I think that's where it's at. Like, if they had Commander Legends, as a matter of fact, I did buy already. I pre-ordered a case of Baldur's Gate Draft.
Oh,
because that's what I want to have for Baldur's Gate, regardless of the value. I will play the draft in Commander Legends 2. Period. Standard, it's such a corner case anymore where I would draft anything in a standard set. So, unfortunately, for standard sets, I can see, the writing on the wall that it's kind of a dodo for the draft boxes, unfortunately. But that being said, in the future, let's say I really like a draft or a standard set, I'd much rather have the draft to crack open with friends, because the set is just too wonky, and collector boxes, you're a baller if you're drafting with collector boxes.
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Well,
I still to this day have never opened a collector's pack at all. I've never opened one.
It sounds like a good time, Matt, if you're going to be the one paying for the collector boxes that we draft with.
Sure.
But I don't want to draft with set. I don't want to have to do the workarounds and the Winchester and the goofiness. I just don't like it. It doesn't.
Winchester draft's pretty fun. I like it.
Does not appeal to me at all. So there's still value in the draft as a draft. Here's the thing with drafting 3-color sets, though. I mean, they really have to have a lot of color fixing, and I just don't see it in this set. Like, this would be tough to play draft style. 3 colors in a draft is just brutal. 40 cards, and you're going to try to color fix? Oof. I know they put the other, what do they call them? Slow fetches in there or something?
They've got dual lands that are like tap dual lands.
No, they also have like a slow fetch, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the courtyard, storefront.
I think they come into
plaza.
They tapped or something, right?
When Cabaret's courtyard enters the battlefield, sacrifice it when you do. Search your library for a basic mountain plains. That one. And then they come into play tapped, yeah.
So, it's, I mean, not in love with, 3-color draft. That just...
I think it'd be fine. It looks like there's 3 different sources of mana fixing. As far as lands are concerned.
Commander draft, I'd be more behind it, but 3-color standard draft? Oof.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed our little review of a couple of cards that we picked out from Treasure New Capenna and our overall attitude about it. overall, I think it's a great set. It's got plenty of new cards that I enjoyed looking at and that I'm going to be building decks with. And I may pick up a draft box of Streets because, like I said, I kind of want to draft it. So we'll see. I don't know. I'll ask the friends. Maybe they'll be entertained and want to do it.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm with Matt. I think the set is fine. I don't have any real negatives for the set. It's just I'm targeting things I want more than this set.
Yeah, it's gonna be happening all year round, or all year until the Double Masters. Should be fun though. Hopefully they don't mess up Baldur's Gate, and we can be excited about that. They haven't really messed up anything this year, so far so good. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Hello, everybody. Nope.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone.
All Duck Dynasty there.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and everybody. I normally never have issues with intros. Hello, everybody. Nope, I can't talk. I can't say hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hey, everybody. Hello.
Just say yo.